So good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Arvind, Bharani from India, and that's Adith SV. He's also from India. So we're interning at Object Automation Software Solutions for the past 4 months, and I'm studying BTech IT in BS Abdur Rahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. And he's studying at Amity University, Delhi. He's a mechanical engineer, and I'm a IT engineer. So basically, our presentation is about the PowerAI Vision and other solutions on AI box. So what is exactly the problem of today's generation? Our college generation. So. Students from India, so like not exactly from India, but students from different parts of the world have one major problem with them. So that is, getting a computer that is powerful enough, that's powerful enough to work on their experiments and get the expected outputs and results in a sufficient time. So not everybody can buy a supercomputer, or not every college can buy a supercomputer. So it involves a lot of cost, a lot of energy, and lots of space. Right. So we are very thankful to IBM to provide us with the IBM Power 9 processor. So we were able to put together a system which could be able to simulate the powers of a supercomputer. So we here at Object Automation Software Solutions are trying to combine these two momentous assets with various other solutions into a low-cost development system. So this would be of great help to students in suburban districts and rural areas, come up with their ideas and their experiments for the betterment of the world. So this system is a power-packed AI box accelerated with NVIDIA GPUs. So we've used NVIDIA GTX 2070, that was also provided to us, and instant development of interface and of the build upon solutions, so that enterprises or organizations can supply their solutions, generating a fully efficient trained model. Okay, so this will be demonstrated to you in shortly. So the system that we developed at OA was powered by IBM Power 9 processor, which was 4-core, and it was also powered by NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 GPU. So NVIDIA was kind enough to provide us with the libraries that would help us to integrate with the Raptor motherboard, which Blackbird. It's the version called Blackbird. It's like the basic version which would support 4-core Power 9 CPU. So we used a 16 GB DDR4 ECC server RAM, 2 slots of it, so it would become 32 GB. So the total rig cost us around $3,000. A little below $3,000. So this system was able to generate models and train models efficiently, that of supercomputer. So not close to a supercomputer. So now my friend Adith will explain you the MNIST experiment for a step-by-step project on how to identify handwriting. So most of the problems that we have nowadays, so in some countries students are allowed to take notes in laptops and their phones, but most of the countries it's handwritten. So with the fast moving world and everything, so handwritten notes are not possible for each and everybody. So we're going to develop a model which could understand a human handwritten sentence or a word or any language by inputting different data sets into it and combining it through the IBM Power 9 processor, and come with an outcome where the CPU can tell you how confident it is on which word or which number or which any language, whichever it is. So we're going to explain using the Power 9 processor experiment tool. So Adith will continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Adith. I'm doing my mechanical engineering BTech back in India in Amity University. So I'm going to do a small demonstration on the MNIST experiment using the PowerAI Vision tool. So PowerAI Vision tool is basically a image processing tool. It processes images and videos. It points out objects. It detects objects and categorizes images on its own based on how we train the model over here. So the 4 basic steps involved in PowerAI Vision tool would be creating the database data set first, and then we prepare the data, and we train the model and deploy the model for our use in web applications and mobile applications. So the first step would be creating a data set. As you can see, there's a small box in the top left corner saying that create new data set. You can drag all your database, your data images, and drop it over there so that the data set automatically gets created. The second step would be preparing the data set. So as I told you, I'm going to take the MNIST as an example for this. So it's a pre-made data set. You can see all the images of number 5 written in different styles by different people. So the first step for preparing the data set would be select the image which you have been added to create the data set, and then there's an option for labeling the objects. You select that, and then you go to this page where you'll find in the top for categorizing. So you select 5 categories. As this is a 5, you select 5 over there, so the image automatically gets categorized into 5 category. Similarly, select every image of that 5 category, and then you prepare the data set in a similar way by categorizing each number into their own categories as 5 or 6 or 7, whatever the number might be. And the next step would be training the model. There's a small button in the top left corner saying Train Model. Simply click on the button, and it takes you to the next page. Here you find two options. The first one is image classification, and the other one is object detection. Here the MNIST model is going to use image classification, as we basically classify the image which we get into which number it is. So we select image classification option, and then in the bottom we'll find advanced options. There you can select your iterations, your intervals, your learning rate, etc. based on your needs, and then simply click on the train button at the bottom. So here the tool automatically trains the model, learns the images, and prepares the model. So next step would be going to the models section in the top. You click on the model section, you'll find the training time for this MNIST model has approximately 60,000 images, and it takes around 15 to 20 minutes to train the model. So once the model has been trained, you'll find the trained model in the models list. You simply select the model. You'll be taken to this page, and then the next step would be deploying the model. So once you deploy the model, you will find it in the deployed models list in the top section over there. So after the model has been deployed, the deployment of the model takes around 2 to 3 minutes in this tool. So click on the MNIST model option over there, and then you can test your model. Yeah. So there's an option for dropping files over there. You simply drop any other image, like you write number 5 on your paper, and then give it as an input to test the image, and the tool automatically detects. For example, I've taken an image of 0 from Google, and I've put it in the box, and then it automatically says the category is 0 with confidence 0.96. That is 96% confidence. So that's how this tool works. And you'll also find an API link over there, which this link can be used to use it in your web applications and mobile applications to link with this model so that this can be used in your phones and other applications. So basically, this is how the tool works. Thank you. Now Arvind will be continuing.
So the time taken for this experiment that was told by Adith was by a 4-core Power 9 processor. So the time would be reduced by half. It would be, if it would be, used with Raptor Talos motherboard. That was explained yesterday. I don't think they're here now, but Talos motherboard was put together yesterday. So we also asked them to, they helped us to experience the CPU there. So we tested, and time was reduced to 65%. It was efficient than this time taken. So the next thing would be, so what are the applications of PowerAI tools? So we all know that breast cancer has been becoming a very important issue in lieu of women's safety. So because many women and mothers all across the world have been put through a lot of stress through their young age, and they're also like 95% of the women are also working as on par with men. So compared to their stress levels and their healthy habits, they do not have time to take care of themselves. So breast cancer is becoming an issue day by day. So but most of them do not know they have breast cancer or something. So CT scans would not prove effective in some cases, because breast cancer can range from stage 0 to stage 4. It is very, very difficult to understand what is the complexity of the situation. So our PowerAI Vision tool can use image rendering to scan the tissues through a CT scan and then tell you where the lumps are present. So where the cancerous cells and tissues are reproducing at a very faster rate, and what would be the effective countermeasure or prevention or cure method for that. Because stage 0, stage 4, stage 0 would imply heating and such things, but stage 4 would involve chemotherapy. So the intensity will be given out, the results will be given out by the system. And the other application is diabetes level detection from retinal scans. This also uses image rendering. So one might ask, how would image rendering help in finding the diabetic level of an individual? So if you see any diabetic person, so diabetes causes the retinal tissues of us to dilate. So dilate means basically a person with more diabetes than a non-diabetic person would have dilated pupils, unless and otherwise he gets his eyes, he or she gets her eyes checked regularly and dilates the pupil. So our PowerAI Vision would be able to capture an image. So you have to feed in an image of your eye, a high-res image of your eye, and the PowerAI Vision tool would be able to categorize it on how dilated the pupil is and how tensed, what are the tension present on the vessels, blood vessels. So you can see there, you can see some sort of a yellow filter, right? So diabetic persons, highly diabetic persons, would be subjected to this such conditions. So this could be characterized or found easily with our PowerAI tool. And another measure would be industrial safety measures. So this would be using image rendering, using the Power 9 processor. So most of the workers who are working in mining and construction business are subject to unsafe and unclean environments. So on the outside, they all seem so rosy and everything, but on the inside, most of them do not get provided with the necessary safety equipments like helmets, radiation tag, and gloves and boots and everything. So our video rendering processing power through Power 9 processor would be able to detect the body posture, and you have to previously given the data sets of the helmet and whatever the industry is. According to the industry, you have to previously determine what are the safety equipments that people need to wear for their own safety. So through live image rendering, our PowerAI Vision tool would be able to tell which worker is not wearing which part of the safety equipment. So this would be helpful for both the company and the worker. For the worker in terms of his or her health issues, and for the company by saving them a lot of money from insurance scams, right? So the last and the least is automatic attendance marking system through facial recognition. So this might not seem that much of a application, but still this is a very important part, because when you go to college, okay, so stars mark attendance period wise or hour wise, right? So some colleges there are biometrics, but not all colleges have biometric attendance system. But all colleges do have CCTV, closed circuit television cameras, for security purposes. So our PowerAI Vision could enable the CCTV cameras in each and every classroom to identify each and every student. But this would involve like a half an hour of predetermined, because so like each and every person has to be scanned through the body. So their face would be captured, extracted, and it would be stored in a database where each and everyone would have different structures, because unless and until they're twins, unless and until they're twins, we could just mark attendance for everybody and in every case. If they're twins, then lucky them. So the last and the least is ongoing work and future plans. So we've been working on this project for like 4 months now, and our future plans would be testing the AI box with other cards like XILINX Alveo U200 and NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti. So we were not able to find libraries for GTX 1080 Ti, but we were able to find XILINX for XILINX Alveo U200. And the other would be taking AI solutions to the edge on the next level Ultra 96 board, and which would smoothen up the process that we are having right now by 45% efficiency totally, like in a total time. And we are also working on collaborating with industries on exploring how AI can be useful in different sectors. So AI could be useful from farming to medical to industry to education. So like it has a very vast use. And the last, building and implementing AI and edge computing curriculum for schools and universities, because in the fast developing world, AI is going to be the future. So schools and colleges should be notified of what are the changes that are being made, and students should be able to be given the chance for being a part of it. So we're happy to have this opportunity, and thank you so much. Any questions can be asked.
Any questions? If not, I've got one. You got one? Okay,
Yeah.
You can go first.
Tell me, sir.
So my question is basically on PowerAI Vision. I understand that as a software that can run on Power9,
Yes, sir.
OpenPOWER servers. So basically my question is, do I need to code any kind of algorithm in order to...
Yes, of course. You need to code for everything. So like each and every software requires different kinds of coding levels. So like our attendance calculation system and the safety measure calculation system are like both nearly the same, but it would require more calibration in case of the industrial safety equipment system. So like you have to code differently. So like you have to have the person with the skill set to develop PowerAI Vision.
Okay, so for example, I can use the YOLO framework on PowerAI Vision.
Sorry, please, can you please come again?
So can I use the YOLO TensorFlow algorithm in order to...
Yeah, you could use TensorFlow, but you cannot use TensorFlow in like all aspects. So like you could use TensorFlow in experiments which require and which can be used with TensorFlow, but not all experiments can be used with TensorFlow, I guess.
Okay, and in the platform, I can change the parameters for my model?
Yeah, of course you can change your parameters. So like if you come up with an experiment can be turned into, so like people have, like experienced and in cases where they were aiming for a product, but that product was not attained totally. But they attained with a totally different expected output, which turned out to be a huge success. Like the UMD with like Universal Media Disc with the PlayStation Portable. Yeah. Like, have you seen the small CDs discs, right? So PlayStation Portable CDs are like half the size of a normal CD. But it turned out to be a failure, but still it's a very, very good use of compact discs. So yeah, you could change the model parameters and end up with a totally different product. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
You got I'm going to ask mine on the way over.
Sure.
As you were working with PowerAI Vision, was there anything that you encountered that could be improved, that could be made better? What sort of problems did you encounter, and what sort of feedback would you have to the product owners?
Okay, so the product owners, hats off, the product is amazing, and I don't think we have any problem with the Power 9 processor, except for the price maybe, which could be lowered down a bit. So the only problem that we faced while we were developing the output was we had a lot of errors in the coding, and like it would be possible for us to, like you have to learn and only you have to rectify it, right? So correcting like the user interface for all the tools were also a bit of a challenge for us, because we're self-taught, and like YouTube videos are our only way of learning. So it's a very helpful tool. So the confidence level, PowerAI, the confidence level was the only problem for us, because we would give an input of a 5, so which would look like a 2, but it was a 5. But the computer was so confident that it was a 0, like for 47%. So that was our only problem. So we don't have any problem with the owners, like the making of the product with the owners. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Thank you so much.